With a cloud of corruption still hanging over the Andrew Holness-led administration, the Prime Minister sent a strong message to those who will make the transition from party to government. Mr. Holness was making his acceptance speech at the JLP headquarters last night. Andrea Chisholm has the details.
Andrew Holness has become a powerhouse in Jamaican politics. A 65% positive performance rating in the RGR Gleaner Don Anderson poll in August, higher than the JLP itself, and now a 49-seat majority in the House, cementing a second consecutive term in office. It's the first time the JLP is winning back-to-back elections in more than 50 years. The last time the party won consecutively was in the 1962 and 1967 general elections. Now, Mr. Holness previously indicated that he believes in term limits, but with no legislation or requirement and this new reality, I asked about putting a cap on his leadership as Prime Minister.
I reflected on that this morning. I'm only human. So I think that's the cap. Do I want to do this for the rest of my life at 48? There might be some other things that I would love to achieve.
Until then, the here and now. First up, a warning: with the power comes great responsibility.
It must never be that the government that emerges from this victory takes on any characteristics of arrogance, of inhumility. It must never be that the government that emerges from this victory takes the people for granted in any way. In our last government, the narrative of corruption dogged us, and it is not something that we can hide away from. And I want to be clear, because there are many persons who will now be assuming state authority, who may not have the understanding as to how that authority should be used. They will know clearly that this government does not stand for corruption.
The COVID-19 pandemic is still high on the agenda. Pending a meeting with technocrats from the Health Ministry, the Prime Minister is telling the country to brace for a new strategy in the management of the coronavirus.
But yes, the country can rest assured that there will be new measures in place. We will make the necessary allocations in our budget so that you can be cushioned and cope with the economic fallout that accompanies the pandemic.
With many more options available, particularly in the lower house, the Prime Minister will now finalize his new-look cabinet by assessing the competence of individuals.
The first thing is I have to look for competence. That's number one, people who can manage. The second thing I'm going to be looking for, because I believe that going into this second term is for persons who are clear in their vision and have a vision that aligns with what the government wants to do.
Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.